bonitos. ¡Ay, miren, viene otro! It's cold, but it's sunny, so I'm happy. I really like Hungary, Budapest. I really like it here, actually.
Muchas gracias.
¿Es Hamilton?
Espera que mamá un relieve en la baja.
Es muy elegante. Tengo... Hi everyone and welcome to the winter diaries. I always have the issue that I have no idea if I'm in focus or not. So if I'm not, I'm sorry. I just came back from Sevilla. It was my first bachelorette party ever. One of my friends from school is getting married. She's the first one from our group to get married, which is insane. Like, my friends are getting married. I'm getting old. Anyways, today I'm going to spend my entire day at home reading because it's raining. I love wintry, rainy days. So far, the beginning of the year has been filled with trips. I went to Budapest at the beginning of the year, which was amazing. I love visiting old imperial countries for some reason, like cities. The history it had with the Austro-Hungarian Empire and then the Nazis and then the Soviet Union. There's just so much. And also I went to Poland last year with my sister. We visited and just learned a lot about the Jewish people during the Second World War in Poland. And then this year we went to Hungary and we also visited a lot of historical landmarks for Jewish people during the Second World War. And the difference is that when we went to Poland, it was summer, so it was like a nice weather. We went in the 1st of January, we got a plane to Hungary. It was freezing cold. Like, I like cold weather, don't get me wrong, but I'm Mediterranean, so it does get cold, it doesn't get that cold. So whenever they were talking about some things that happened during the Second World War, during winter, you could really put yourself in their shoes. You cannot really feel what they felt, obviously, but you could really imagine the things that were going on. So that was intense. It was very cold and foggy, but I had a great time. I really liked Budapest. I want to go to Austria next. I don't think I'm ever going to convince my sister to go with me during winter because she's going to kill me if I ever say that, so maybe during spring. This time I went with my sister and my mom. Also, I'm going to Bath for my birthday because this year I didn't know that before buying it, but I'm going to Bath because I've been wanting to go to Bath for the longest time. I love England and I love Jane Austen, and probably this year is the year of Jane Austen. I didn't know that actually, so that's fun. I want to talk about the books I'm currently reading. I'm going to get one of those that's there. I'm currently reading 3 books, which is not something that I love doing, but I don't know, somehow I'm in the middle of 3 books. The first one is Fairy Oak by Elizabeth Anom. This is one of the best YA middle grade fantasy books ever written. If you love cozy fantasies with witches, fairies, and magical little towns, this is a book for you. I first read this book when I was in primary school, maybe around 10 years old. This is the third and last book in the original trilogy. The other book that I'm reading is La Gran Guerra, La Primera Guerra Mundial Descubierto, by the Spanish History Channel. This is about the Great War. I love every single book that the Spanish History Channel has written. I've read all of them except this one. I'm currently reading this one. And then the last one that they have written that I haven't read is Historical Figures in History. I'm someone that really likes reading about the 20th century, especially in Europe, not from a morbid point of view, because when I say that, I always feel like I need to justify myself, because saying that feels like saying I love reading about wars and just everything terrible that happened in history in Europe. No, it's not that. I just love history, and especially European history during the 20th century. Not because I think what happened is amazing. I feel like I need to justify that. I just like knowing and informing myself from the things that happened. The first half of the book was introducing the entire history of the beginning of the 20th century worldwide, like the entire colonies and all the wars that were happening. And then they also talked a lot about the Spanish history during the first half, because in case you don't know, Spain is a monarchist country. We have kings and queens, and then we had our first republic, then we went back to having kings, then we had our second republic, then we had the Spanish Civil War, and then we had a dictatorship for many years, and then now we have a democracy with amazing politics. I'm not going to get into that, don't worry. But I just like reading about that. And now we are in a very, I don't want to say interesting, and I need to find a word to properly describe how I'm feeling. Right now, they're narrating in very detail the First World War and the daily lives of the soldiers in the trenches. There's a lot of diaries and books written by the soldiers themselves, going from Canadian and Australian to German, French, British soldiers. So we have a lot of different points of view from the different soldiers. Reading some of the passages and then also reading some of the descriptions of the things that were going on is just brutal. Thinking that we are never going to learn and we are going to keep having wars is just the worst. And then lastly, I'm reading Lo que los libros de historia del arte no quieren que sepas by Blanca Aguilera. This is a book about history of art and things that are most likely not known from history of art. There's a lot of like gossip and more of like pop culture references as well. I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it, but I'm not loving it either, because I have a lot of thoughts. I'm going to properly talk about it when I finish it, because right now I don't want to judge it so much. But yeah, I'm not loving it, sadly. Happy winter, everyone. I hope you like my winter diaries. I just love winter. It's a magical time.
Over to the man. I wanna see you tonight if you can. Maybe it's no, maybe it's yes. I'd risk it all just to see that dress.
I finally found a dress.
That dress. I'll start drinking like a vagabond. If it don't work out, I'm gonna kill the machine. Girl, you keep it close in Los Angeles. I'm gonna take you to your favorite places to eat. New Jersey blues, my baby gets me through. Cherry syrup, medicine cures nightmares too. Toxic fumes, processed foods. I paid my dues, I did my time, now I'm coming home to you.
I went on a walk to the forest with Betty. I adore winter so much. I have the sun beaming on my face. I'm currently on a walk with Betty and reading my book, and I'm having the time of my life right now. I've been feeling kind of anxious. I feel like I'm too much in my head lately, like for the past 5 months. I finished reading this book, and I have to say that I'm a little bit mad that I bought a history book without checking the inside first, because there's not a bibliography in this book. There's not one reference to any of the information that the author was giving, so you just had to trust the author with the information that she was writing, because there were so many times that I had to look online things that she was saying, because I just hated not having any quotations, references, or just a bibliography at the end of the book to just double check everything that she was saying. So for instance, for example, this Jackson Pollock painting. Apparently this is about the CIA and the Russians. I did some search online and there's different information. Obviously with history there's so many different point of views and most of them are always valid. I liked reading this book. I just hated not having any source for the information. Also something else that I didn't like is that 85% of the paintings just ended up being extremely sexual. The themes were always about sex or adultery or just something around those topics, which ended up being extremely repetitive. I was searching for something more nuanced with their paintings. When you read back to back about 5 different paintings and all of them have the topics of sex and just being extremely sexual, you just get bored of it. There's more to sex in this world. I discovered some new authors or paintings I already knew, but I just didn't really delve into the painter. For example, this painting, the entire story behind this painting is extremely beautiful, and it was a theme that it wasn't really explored in this book, and I think it should have been, because there's so many paintings and so many references about cheating, religious people doing something that is not religious. There were so many themes that were repeated that I just kept thinking, okay, I get the point. You should research another topic. This artist, I really fell in love with her story and I want to do more research about her. Just a note to myself, don't buy a history book that doesn't have a bibliography on the back or any sites of where that information came from. The author seems extremely sweet, so I don't want to give shit to this book at all. It's just that it's not one of my new favorite books. Good morning everyone. Today is Monday. And I forgot that I have a doctor's appointment, so I woke up at the same time that I always wake up. I have to leave in 15 minutes, but it was nice waking up and being able to have a very slow morning routine, because I absolutely hate having to rush in the mornings. I'm here with Betty. She moved her bed to be next to me, and it's going to break my heart having to leave her. It's coldly freezing in my bedroom, but I have my blanket and I have my journal because I want to talk about my 2024 favorites. Catching up with books, I'm going to mention 3 of them, no particular order. The first one is The Fountain of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I read this book at the beginning of 2024, so almost a year ago, and I still think about the book. Mom is actually currently reading the book and she's also loving it. It's set during the mid-1950s in Madrid, Spain, during the dictatorship with Franco, years after the Civil War. I obviously know a lot about Spanish history because I love learning about my country, but I feel like many people don't know that Spain was such a poor country. People were dying from hunger for many years while other countries in Europe were thriving. This book is a historical fiction that also has a romance aspect to it. It wasn't like the main theme, so I think that's why I really like it. The romance was very sweet and wholesome and innocent, but at the same time we got to follow a Spanish family, also a poor Spanish family. I don't want to get into politics and talk about that dictatorship with Franco. This book was really well researched and I think the author did an amazing job at writing the Spanish history from an American point of view. The next one is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I wanted to read this book to kind of get into the spooky season atmosphere, and also wanted to watch the movie. I didn't end up doing that. I'm going to do that this year, hopefully. I bought the book at the end of August, if I'm not mistaken. And surprisingly, this book was extremely summery, which is great because it was extremely hot when I was reading it. So I think it's the perfect book for the end of summer, beginning of autumn, like a transitional book. I was extremely surprised with the book because there are witches, but there's not one time they talk about witches or they mention they have magic. They just do things that are magical. In this book, we get to explore the power of sisterhood and how sometimes escaping your family is not always the best idea. There were some aspects that were very sad between Sally and Gillian. I am a Sally 100%. And the last one that I want to talk about is the Selected Poems by Lord Byron. I started reading this book in 2023, I'm pretty sure, so it has been a journey reading this book. The edition that I read was thankfully very well explained, and there were so many references and bibliography that you could reference to in case you want to learn more things about the poems, which was great because I could do further research with so many of the topics. Something that I adored in this book was how dramatic Lord Byron was. He kept getting heartbroken over the fact that people were criticizing him. He couldn't grasp why people would want to speak badly about him. So now moving on to movies. Priscilla by Sofia Coppola. Everything that Sofia Coppola creates, I adore Sofia Coppola. That may sound extremely basic, I don't care. The music in her movies is always amazing. The cinematography was breathtaking. Also the actors were really great. I really liked them. It was great to see a portrait of Elvis Presley, not from the eyes of him being a rock star, him being a rumor because Priscilla was extremely young when they got together for the first time. Yes, it was another time, but that being said, it wasn't that long ago. Priscilla was a teenager. In this movie, you can clearly see that once she got out of like the innocent phase and once she started being a woman, he lost interest. Dune Part 2, some scenes were extremely claustrophobic for me, so I suffered a little bit on the movie theater. It's very refreshing to have these kind of movies nowadays. Then a Catalan movie, La Casa en Flamas. If you know Catalan or Spanish, I would recommend watching this movie. Then also all the Agatha Christie movies by... I forgot the name of the director. I started watching the Halloween Party on Halloween Day and I actually had to stop because I was getting extremely spooked, and I continued watching it on All Saints Day. So if you want like a spooky, not spooky, like scary movie, it's not really scary. I think I was just scared for myself. But the Halloween Party is a good movie for Halloween Day. And then Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express, also really good. So for series, I have the season 2 of The Rings of Power. So good. Season 1 was great. I think it was a great introduction. It was slow, so it was a series that I was excited to watch, but I didn't really think too much about it. But then season 2, oh my god, everything is connecting. Everything is connecting. I know hardcore Tolkien fans are not liking the TV series. I'm having a lot of fun. Then also I rewatched Downton Abbey, one of my all-time favorite series. Also season 4, I believe, of Only Murders in the Building. Maxton Hall. It made me feel like a teenager again, and I had so much fun watching it. Then I also watched Alexander, the Making of a God. It's a documentary on Netflix, so it's not really a documentary because it's like they're historians talking about Alexander the Great, but there's also actors recreating some scenes. Docu-series maybe? I don't know the correct term for it, but it was great. Then for music, this is my Spotify Wrapped. I do not think this is extremely accurate because, for example, Ginebras is a band that I've been listening non-stop this year and they're nowhere to be seen. I'm going to link my playlist for my top songs of 2024 in case you want to see them. Then for content creators, so for Instagram, Nikki, she's German, so a lot of her content is in German. I do not understand German. Very beautiful, even if I don't understand German. Romney Ellen, I discovered her this year when she was traveling around the UK. She has a very vintage, nostalgic feeling. Paula as well, she's from the Philippines. She also has a very nostalgic feeling to her content. And then Kirin, I've been following her since she had like 1,000 subscribers and now she has almost like 100,000 subscribers. She's Dutch, but she's currently living in Italy and she also creates a lot of bookish content. All the girls that I've mentioned create a lot of bookish content because that's one of my favorite content to consume. Then for YouTube, some of my favorites are Darlene Desi, Kathleen Caras, Luna Montana. She's not a bookish content creator, but she creates more of like lifestyle and ballet videos. I love ballet. I feel like I say ballet in a very Catalan way. Ballet. That's in a very Catalan way. I don't know how to say it in another way. But she creates a lot of ballet content and also home decorations and just lifestyle content. I love her energy and how she shows her energy in her videos. I feel like that's very important for me, like the energy that people show. Paula as well, she makes YouTube content. Romy Ellen and Sala Caroli as well. For food, this is going to be kind of random, but cinnamon rolls or anything cinnamon. I never was someone obsessed with cinnamon growing up. I feel like my cinnamon obsession started like 2 years ago and I love cinnamon now. Pumpkin spice coffee, pumpkin spice anything. I stopped drinking coffee at the beginning of 2023 for health reasons, but the only time that I drink coffee is for pumpkin spice coffee. We buy the Nespresso ones, I think they're called pumpkin spice cake. Homemade cookies, I don't make out of them because health issues, but when I make them, I love. And lastly, iced matcha with oat milk. When I went to Poland this year, I just had like this urge to drink iced matcha with oat milk every single day while I was there, and the obsession has continued. I asked for matcha this Christmas and I got matcha, and I've been making so many matcha drinks. I cannot be stopped. For places, Poland, like I said, I did a 10 trip. Betty's looking at me. This summer I went with my sister and we did a 10-day road trip around Poland. We flew to Krakow. We spent 3 days there. We visited Auschwitz and Birkenau, the salt mines, and just visited the entire city. I absolutely adored Krakow. It's a city with so much history. Learning the history of the city was very special to me. Then we rented a car. We went to Częstochowa, then Warsaw. We saw Taylor Swift on concert as well. We also visited Gdansk, Turin, Wrocław, Zakopane. We did like the entire country pretty much. Then also Madrid. I've been going there every single year. Isla de Tabarca. It's next to Santa Pola in Alicante. I've never heard of La Isla de Tabarca, but it was such a dreamy place. We went there during winter, so it wasn't like the most touristy time. And then London. I went to London with my sister again for my birthday. I'm very thankful for my sister because she always comes with me. Whenever I want to travel somewhere, I always talk to my sister and she's always down to come with me, so I'm pretty thankful for her. We went to London for my 26th birthday. We went to see Nice, we went to the Harry Potter studios, and we walked around the city so much. I'm getting emotional right now because I feel like in 10 years or 20 years time I will think back to the year 2024 and I will remember the road trip I did with my sister around Poland, or the time that I went to London. For my 25th birthday I went to Scotland with my family, and then this year I'm going to Bath for my birthday. I like traveling, and I know in many years to come I will still think about those trips I made. Also, I went to Toledo. I didn't mention it. I went to Toledo. It's very late, I'm tired, I'm sorry. And I went to Pudufua, which was breathtaking as well. It was such a fun place. I didn't understand an amusement park without roller coasters. Like, I thought it was going to be so boring. It wasn't. It's like a theme park with the history of Spain, and I love history, so it was very fun. Then for activities, like I said, I went to the Harry Potter studios. I've always been a huge Harry Potter fan. I grew up watching the movies, reading the books. It will always hold a special place in my heart. My sister is also a very big fan. She's read the books like 7 times. We are both huge fans and it was a great time. Then for concerts, my top 3 were Madison Beer, Bruce Springsteen. I saw him twice this year, like twice in 1 week. One in Madrid and then once in Barcelona. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Springsteen, in case you couldn't tell. I think I've seen him 4 times live. And then Taylor Swift, obviously. Again, I'm very thankful for my sister because she came with me. So those were some of my 2024 favorites. I'm extremely nostalgic and sensitive right now because I just kept thinking that I'm getting old, obviously. I feel like the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing the importance of these moments, like traveling with my sister and going to concerts with my family. Also, my sister got married, my oldest sister. We are 5 siblings and my oldest sister got married. I'm going to go to bed now because I keep getting more emotional and I'm just an emotional girl, what can I tell you?